the Married to Stay Married marriage moments.
Good evening, everyone.
We are going to give everyone an opportunity and time to click in. And so, just want to make sure that we give everyone opportunity. I know that some of us may not be used to being on time, but I am really a stickler for time. Like,
No, he's not.
I am too. I am. I like being on time. I don't like running late.
Mondays,
I mean, period. You know that.
Tuesdays.
Hey, what's up? C high, C low, Chris.
Who's that?
Chris Smith.
Oh, that's Michael.
That's not.
That's Mr. Miguel.
So what I want to do is guys, I hope you guys have been having a great week thus far. We decided that we would do the marriage moment on a week or every 2 week basis, just to really more or less give some coaching that you would normally get in the event that you were to sit down with Kim and I. And we're not really going into real deep depth, so to speak. Yes, we're not doing anything.
Touching the surface.
Right. So, I mean, so for those of you that may want to get some coaching, or, you want to sit down and have a one-on-one, we want you to be able to have a little bit of a inkling of what we do and how we do it and why we do it. It's very funny tonight that we're dealing with expectations, and I did ask a question in the group, of course, because this broadcast is actually just coming into Married to Stay Married. This is not something that's going out to different pages. And the discussion from last week, I actually removed it because I believe that as married people, we should have the ability to share and be private and be comfortable with other married people. So, but the question that I asked last or Sunday was, do we sometimes have expectations of our spouse that they aren't able to meet? And if so, how are we to handle that? And so, with 13 comments on this particular blog, and so it was very intriguing to me, how some of you guys even looked at expectations. I want to make sure that we're looking at expectations and doing what we should be doing as far as expectations. And I don't want you to feel as though you're having to lessen yourself or lessen your expectations. But there's a way that we have to address expectations in order to get the results that we're looking for. Okay? And so one of the things that we had that was going on during this period of time in our marriage that we had issues with was expectations. Was I expecting too much from Kim? And I don't think that we can ever expect too much from our spouse. What we have to do is it's really about the communication, right?
Sometimes I think we can expect too much.
You think so?
Yeah, because sometimes I expect things from you and you don't
So,
do it. So maybe it's not that. I don't think when I say expect too much, it doesn't mean that you can't do it. It just clearly means that you just don't do it.
Okay.
So if you just don't do it, doesn't mean you don't have the capability or the ability to do it. You just don't. So when you just don't, and after you expect it for so long, it gets old. It just fades on out.
So what we have to do is let's go back, because we're talking about us, right? So what is something that you expect me to do that you feel as though I have the ability to do, like right now?
Clean your clothes up off the floor when you go out.
Well, I don't count.
You asked me a question. I give you an answer. Did you hear that, ladies and gents? I give you an answer. You go tell me that don't count.
That don't count.
That don't count?
No. Okay, give me something else. Give me something that's hard.
That is hard. That is hard.
All right, so she just gut punched me with something that's simple, right?
That's hard.
And so one of the things.
Okay. I can say okay. Let's go back. I can say you do not. I expect sometimes for you when it comes to you being able to identify like my attire. Like if I say, you be like, I say, those are my good jeans. I need you to get those jeans. Like you see my jeans and you don't notice that those are my good jeans. Why? Because those are the jeans that I prefer wearing. And I expect you to know this because these are the ones that are like my favorites, but you don't. I could say that's big, right?
Jesus.
How big is that? That's
all right,
big.
So here, what I want you to do tonight, right? When we get off, I want you to go right on these jeans. Like it's so. I mean, really and truly. I mean, you're being like funny because
No, I'm being serious.
I understand, but I don't have the ability to look
See
at your
what you
stuff.
said? See what
And
I'm
like,
saying?
you know, I look at
So
your stuff, and sometimes
I named two things. You said something really serious,
Man.
and I named two things that was really serious.
man, come with something for real.
I
Right?
am. That is for real.
Oh my Jesus!
That is for real.
All right, so
That is for real. I'm just saying that's in general. That's how we as women feel. We don't. You know, it's nothing. It may not be anything major to you, but it's major to me because it makes me know that you identify. You have that eye. You can see exactly what I like. Like I know your favorite pair of slacks.
I ain't got but 7 or I got 11 pair of slacks. Okay, so I mean, but still, what's my favorite pair of slacks?
Those tan ones with the stripe that goes with the jacket.
Not.
Yeah, it's those.
Mm-mm.
Or either the houndstooth. It ain't but one of those two.
No, neither one.
Lies.
No, my tan pants with no strap.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Anyway.
But anyway.
All right.
This
So
is something big. So I named something big. I named two big things, and now that those are not big.
I'm saying so let's talk about expectations, right? And so some of the expectations that we have really. So here, give you a prime example. Let's talk about this because you expected me to know what your favorite pair of jeans are.
Because I've identified it to you.
No, you haven't.
Yeah, the
Okay,
Levi's.
well, I mean, what Levi's?
See what I'm saying? You are like you don't even know what Levi's are.
Man, I don't even know. Look, I think what's happened. Look here, I think I got set up. So I believe that you went shopping today and probably bought some Levi's.
No, I did
These
not.
are the Levi's. And I wouldn't know the difference.
No, right. That's my whole point to you. When I get dressed, and those are my jeans that I normally wear when we go out, dude, it is the Levi's. So when I said this to you before, it's been a while. It's been over a year. And I said,
Oh, okay.
You remember that?
No.
You don't remember that?
No,
You know what I'm
yes,
saying?
I don't remember that.
I said, go into the closet, and I said, get my favorite pair of jeans. You know, those Levi's. You was like, what?
Man, don't start.
So that's what I'm saying. But if you're talking about anything other than what I expect,
Like conduct, like your conduct. Like what we do, what habits do we have? Okay, man, I get it. Okay, so you're talking about my clothes being down or something of that nature. And when we say clothes, we're not talking about my everyday clothes. I'm talking about like my bed clothes. I'll step out my bed clothes and walk right into the bathroom. I realize that. I get it, right?
Yeah, but that's important to me because I have OCD.
I understand that.
So
but if I take my clothes, and I've noticed that when I take my clothes to the closet in the morning, like I take my night clothes, I take those to the closet, I forget my medicine every single time. So I have a routine. I'm so routine. Hey Katrina.
Hey everybody. Hello Jay, Jolena, Chris,
If they ain't said that, don't call them. They don't know they own that. All right. So anyway,
this is within the group.
I understand. So so the thing of it is that I want to, we have to communicate our expectations. Like you said, you communicated those to me. I may not have been paying attention, and even and I hate to say it, but in dealing with this, I'm one of those type people that you can tell me something. Like Kim will tell me something. My short-term memory and sometimes long-term memory.
So that's not a fair question to ask me. What do I expect from you, and that I know that you have the capability of doing?
Right.
Because if I ask that, and if I don't ask that on a continuous basis, guess what? You're not going to remember.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. So in dealing with that, I'm gonna tell you how meticulous I am about like my process in the morning. Do you realize that I come sit on the side of the bed and I take my left sock goes on first with my left shoe? Mm-hmm. Okay. So I have a routine in the morning. I have a routine in the morning, and help me out, so I can get my.
You do have a routine, and just like this morning, what did I do? I did a do check, right? So what did I say?
Yeah, that's because you don't want me to die.
No. I did not. I did a do check. I said, "Is your hair brushed?" I said, "Did you get your medicine?" Oh. You had to come back and get your medicine. So I notice these things.
All right. So let's go back to the matter at hand because we're talking about expectations, right?
All right. So now, what do you expect from me?
So I think that a lot of times what I expect from you is to know more than what you really know. And then here's what happened. And so because of that, like when we sit down and I'll be like trying to explain something to you, and you be like, you're talking to me like I'm stupid. Well, if I don't explain it, then you say, well, I don't understand. So it's like a double-edged sword. Like I can't.
No, it's not that. I don't think it's that. You're almost saying it's like it's a double negative. I just ask you, when you're talking to someone, there is a level. Sometimes
I'm not talking about someone. I'm talking about you.
Okay, when you're talking to me, period. There's a level on some things you can talk because you're so used to talking, finances and money and deals all day long. When you come home, whether you realize it or me, you can talk to me. At times you can talk to me like I'm a business partner. You present your case like you're you're trying to convince me to buy insurance for this RV that I ain't even got or buy. You're trying to give me a package. So what I'm saying to you is to bring it down to my level to where I can understand, but don't talk to me like a child.
So how do you do that?
Because
so you're expecting me to communicate on a certain level,
listen.
and it's not even.
Yes, it is. It's possible. Okay, you can say, well, Kim, this percentage is such this, and I'd be like, percentages. I don't do numbers too well, and I'd be like, well, okay, so you take these two things. You don't gotta say. If you come down a level, you can say you can take this one and this one will equal up to this instead of saying coming all the way down. Well, 2 plus 2 is 4. 4
right.
plus 4.
So
okay,
that you
so
understand.
You're in that level in between.
So if I put it on the ground level,
I didn't say ground, in between.
All right.
So
understand. So that's your expect. So for me, I expect you to allow the communication, okay, and listen to understand it and not to respond.
Right.
Okay. And so that's a huge expectation for me.
Okay, and I slip up.
Okay, so how do we deal with this? So and the reason that we're trying, and it's funny because we're sitting here and we're trying to figure out stuff that we have had past expectations on, and I'm sitting here still trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure something out because what we had to do is we had to not lower our expectations, right? And so when we start expecting something, hey, Miss Gloria. So when we really start expecting something from each other, like you're expecting me to talk to you a certain way or talk on a certain level, right? And so what happens when we're not able to talk, or I'm not able, or I don't meet that expectation? And so here is the cross point that most marriages and relationships get to is that we don't meet that expectation, or we're having a problem with believing that the expectation eventually can get there. And so how do you deal with this?
Well, when you're saying that expectation, and I can tell when you're getting frustrated when you're trying to explain something to me and I just don't get it. You know what I just do? Okay.
Right, but that's
and I say okay. And the reason I say okay because then I go back and I have to think about what you're saying and process it the way that I know how to process it, and attempt to put it in line, attempt to put it to where I can understand exactly what you're saying.
Okay, so here's what we suggest in expectations, and I want to get to that because you're talking about your how-to within yourself. Okay, what I want to do is I want to give some answers to those in married to stay married, as into the stop and the break piece, right? How are we? We hit the brakes a lot of times. We have to understand what we're expecting. So how do we deal with expectations or the missing the mark of that expectation, and what's a reasonable expectation and what's not a reasonable expectation? I'm going to say this. What's reasonable as far as an expectation to me may not be reasonable to Kim. And what's reasonable to her may not be reasonable to me. And so in dealing with the reasoning of the expectation, then as the person that's expecting, what you have to do is not lower your expectations, but you have to come up with a plan of execution and how to get your spouse to that level of expectation. Now, are you expecting? And this is something that's really funny, right? So, are you expecting something from your spouse that you are able to produce yourself? Okay, because a lot of times we fall into that situation, we fall into that place where where we are expecting something of our spouse and we're not even able to get there ourselves. It's almost like me saying, okay, Kim, here's $150, go get the groceries. Okay. And here's everything on the list that you need to get. Knowing that there's no way for her to go get all those things on that list with $150. We know it's going to be $175, $180. Why would I expect her to do something that she doesn't have the ability to do? Okay? And so how do we get to that point? Now, if I have the ability to go shop that same list and make it $150, then guess what needs to happen? I need to show Kim how I can get to that $150 mark and still get those same things. Okay, so, and understand this. What happens is we start expecting things that we can't even produce ourselves. Okay, we expect our spouse to be Superman, Superwoman, super mom, super wife, or super husband, super whatever, right? We're expecting these things that they don't have the ability or know how to do it. And so how do we get to this point? How do we get past these things? One of the things that I had to do as far as with him, because there were a lot of things, there were budgetary issues that we had. There were things that I expected Kim to do as my wife. There were things that I expected. However, at the point that she missed those things, I couldn't throw her away and say, oh, you don't have any value. Right? And so what happens is what we don't want to do is we don't want to turn to a point that we have that we expect so much of each other that when we miss this mark that we just throw the other person away. Because all of a sudden now here we are, we're at this level, we're expecting something to happen or we're expecting things to operate on this particular level, and then we're let down. Well, now that we're let down, now we start looking at everything else that we've been let down with. Now we start looking at all the other expectations. Expectations are great because they're boundaries and they're a starting point for ground level. In other words, your expectation should never, once that spouse hits that level of expectation, it should never drop off, right? And so if I start picking my clothes up, then that shouldn't drop off. Because we've met that expectation at one point, and then all of a sudden we're not meeting it. This also happens when we start talking about emotional needs. You have a certain expectation of emotional needs. And when those emotional needs aren't being met, instead of you getting frustrated and fussing and wanting to choke and going back and forth at each other, now it's time to fall back and say, have I communicated my need, or have I communicated that expectation on the level that I need to communicate it on? Am I talking here and you have an understanding here? And if that's the case, then we need to simplify the communication, and then we need to start there. How can I help you meet my expectations instead of here's my expectations and I'll come back in a week and see if you can meet them?
But it's already, you should know some out the gate that if your expectation of me is at a certain level and you know that I have yet to meet that expectation, then you out of the gate need to come down. Mm-hmm. You need to come down, right. Bring what you're down, because what I'm presenting to her, if I present this to her, I know that she's not going to understand it. So let me go ahead and attempt to break it down now. Mm-hmm. Why break it down now and then present it to her, so that way that she'll understand out the gate. That will kind of eliminate the process of me being frustrated, you being frustrated, and then eliminate, a lot of kinks. So it's just a matter of thinking, well, I went this way the last time, that didn't work. I went this way the last time, that didn't work, and I'm still expecting the same result. So let me come down. a notch and then see if this works. And if that doesn't work, you just kind of play with it. It's a give and take thing.
All right. So, Chris, you're right. You have to stay consistent. Don't start anything you're not able to continue. Yes, you're so right. However, we do slip up at times. We're not superhuman. We're individuals. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to do things. We're going to get lax at certain periods and times, and we're going to fall back off of it or whatever the situation case may be. But what I want to say to you guys tonight as far as the expectations, okay, and I'm saying don't let go of your expectations, but you have to understand that if your expectations are higher than what your spouse's expectations are, then you're going to have to mentor your spouse to that level. You're going to have to be the leader in that area and get to that point. One of the things I had an expectation of with Kim is that, hey, here go my money, here's my credit cards. Do not spend anything unless you really come see me. That was my expectation. At that point, sometimes she wasn't able to do that. But what did I have to do? And I remember times that you would come to me and be like, hey, here's your cards back. Here's your cards back. I don't want them. Here's your cards back. And I'm saying, no, you're not going to give me the card back. And we're going to learn how to govern ourselves and fix ourselves to be able to get to this point that you can do this. You can do this, right? And so, at that point that I continue to do that, now, Kim, I can, look, you're here. Yeah, there's everything. You can do whatever you do. But because I know that she has that self-control, she has hit that expectation that I had for her in the beginning. Because, we both were, at one point in time, we both were really bad with money. I saw money as a different way, but I felt like I had a way to produce it a little quicker and easier, and things just came easy. And so because of that, my view of money was the wrong way. And so I had to make that transition. But in dealing with expectations, when I expect something from Kim or she expects something from me, we have to ask ourselves, are they able to hit this right now? Are they able, if I bring this expectation to your attention right now, can you make that adjustment right now? And if you can't make that adjustment right now, then it's my responsibility as the person that's expecting to help you get to that point. Because I shouldn't be asking or expecting you to do something that I don't have the capability of doing myself.
Okay, that makes sense, I guess. If that's the way you see, you see it that way, and I can see it that way, and I can understand where you're coming from. I just say when you are asking, you say, asking something that you can't produce yourself. Maybe I am asking something that you can't produce myself. So again, like you said, then if in that case, then that makes you have to teach or guide that person to get to where you want to get to. Again, also, I don't expect anything. If I expect something, I guess I don't take it too high, because if I don't expect it, too much of it, then guess what? I won't have that disappointment.
Right. And so that's another thing. So
if
exactly.
You're expecting something that's too much, or 7 times out of 10, you don't bank on it. Because out of those 7 times out of 10, you ain't normally getting it. Not that they don't have the capability or the ability to do it. Some can and some just can't. So if you don't set yourself, it's almost like setting yourself up for failure. Don't do it, because you can't. It's almost like this. You can't miss what you don't have. You can't miss what you ain't normally been getting. So if you normally haven't been getting something in that area, and it hasn't been introduced, or it hasn't been touched, or it hasn't been communicated between the both of you, then guess what? You don't expect it. You don't expect that. Now if you get it, whoa, surprise.
Right.
Okay, that person has the ability and the capability to produce it. But if you don't get it, I wouldn't. If you did it one time and you were able to identify something one time, cool. I ain't going to get excited, because it may be that second, third time, or he did it that time, so I'm expecting him to do it this time, and you don't do it. There, I'm getting disappointed, and I'm mad, because how you going to do it the first time and not do it the second time? Then it starts a whole nother ball game.
Right. So the expectations shoot you in. So, and you make a very good point, and I like what you're talking about, because basically that means that when we start having expectations and our expectations are too high, right? When our expectations are so high, we're setting ourselves up for failure. We're setting ourselves up for an emotional failure. Like, I'm expecting 100 and I'm getting an 80. That's a failure because you're not going to get to 100. So what you have to do is you have to strive for the 100, but let's fall back and let's say, can I get to 81? Can I get to 82? Can I get to 83? Take baby steps because it's a goal that you have in mind. We're talking
or can I get what you're able to give me?
Right,
Because
but
your
and
number
build
may
from
not,
that.
right. Your number, each person's number is different.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you're setting a goal to say, I would like for you to hit that 82nd percentile mark. But if you get at 75, that'll be just as good.
So you start at right, but
You know
you don't.
what I'm
Okay,
saying?
so let me
I'm
ask
not
you this.
saying you don't decrease, but you start at 75
And build.
look for 82.
Right.
But if they don't do 82, then there's no disappointment.
So when a person, and the thing of it is, and a lot of what I try to do now is I'm trying to look at things a little different. I'm trying to approach things different. I'm trying to give. So when people say, "Can you do this?" I'll see about it. I'm not going to give you a definite answer. I'll see about it, right? Because if I give you a definite answer, then you're expecting me to do that. But if I tell you I'll see about it, then there's a little bit of doubt. And if I can hit your expectation, then you maintain your respect for me. If I tell you, yeah, I can do something and I don't really have a way to get there, then all of a sudden you begin to lose your respect for me. You begin to say, you know what, he lied to me. Even though you're not saying that to my face, but in expectations, a lot of times the person that is setting the expectation is the person that's being expected. So in other words, if you're expecting 100%, or let's say for instance, you're expecting 80% from me, okay? And you say, do you feel as though you can get 80%? And if I say yes, then you're expecting me, I've confirmed what you're expecting that can be reached. What I'm saying is that if you tell me, hey, look, can you get me to 80%? And I say, I'll see about it. Then what I've done is I've set your expectations to come in below 80%. So if I am able to hit the 80% or more, then I hit the happy button. And I think that what happens is for us in marriage, what we do is we set these expectations, and we set them so high that we haven't even communicated with our spouse what our expectations are. If there's an issue, just like, prime example, and I keep going back to this grocery store thing because Kim has really like mastered this. And so I go to this because I say, hey, look, we can do $150 this week, okay? And you say, okay, cool, no problem. You go make that happen, right? And so because I've set this expectation, but if I come back to you, okay, and I say, 130, and I know that you need 150 to make that work, okay? So I'm expecting something but we communicate, we talk about it, and I say, hey, I need you to really be at 130. Matter of fact, that happened a couple weeks ago, and guess what you did? You came back, it was 130, okay? But, at that point in time, we have to understand that when we set these expectations, if I tell you what my expectation of you is and you can't reach it, then tell me you can't reach it. Tell me, say, hey, look, you know what? I'm going to really see about that. I'm going to check into that, and I'll see if I can make that happen. And so at that point in time, I'm not expecting for you to get to that point. And if you hit it, oh, man, we're happy. Oh, high five. Go, Kim. Give me some. Don't hang me hanging.
Oh, I thought that was an example.
It is, but I'm just saying.
I didn't know.
And so in dealing with that, we set those expectations. We talk to our spouse. We communicate them in an effective manner. And then if you can't meet them, say, hey, look, I really understand. However, let me look into that. Let me see if I can make that happen.
Well, sometimes even though you said a lot about meeting your expectations. Sometimes within yourself whether you can meet the expectation or not. As well as sometimes that you can't meet that expectation. But what if you're saying, yes, I can, to make that a personal goal? Did you ever think about it that way?
Yes.
Because you can say, Kim, or not just me, but anybody can say, I expect you to be able to produce this, or not use the word produce. Hey, can you do this for me? And you say, and I say, yeah, I can do it. In my mind.
Hey, Bernard.
In my mind.
Junior Bishop.
In my mind, I'm saying, you can't do that. But guess what? How do I know? How do I truly, really, really know unless I try?
All right. So now we're starting to talk about we're talking about expectations, and they're gonna bleed over into our intentions versus reality.
Well, I'm just saying what you can do as far as expectation, not you from me, but me to me.
Right. So I understand what I'm, okay. Right. I got you. So in dealing with that is a goal, right? So a lot of times people bring me deadlines. Can you do this by this? I'll try. I'll look into that. Right. And I've gotten really bad because, some of the men have said, hey man, can you give me a call? Yeah, I'll give you a call. Really knowing that I may not have that opportunity because things do come up, things pop up, emergencies go off, the bell go off. We're sitting up at 2:00 in the morning with someone else who may, at that point I've got to make it a priority wherein I should be telling you, hey, look, yeah, okay, I understand you want to give you a call. Let me do the best I can. If I can, hey Sherelle. If I can, then I can do that. If I can't, then you're not let down. I haven't let you down. I haven't lied to you. And so, I'm getting to that point where I'm having to say, hey, look, this is, my intentions versus the reality. Because a lot of times we can have great intentions to meet those expectations, but the reality, and you're only going to get graded on your reality. You're not going to get graded on your intentions. I had the greatest intention of making $1 million last year.
Hey, Sherry.
But I didn't, And so because I didn't, if I'd have told you that, hey, look, let's go buy this, and I'm going to have $1 million this year, we'll be able to pay it, and then at the end of the year, I don't have it. Now I've dropped. So you're expecting something, and I came in lower. Now, not only did I let you down on the expectations, but now I've become a liar.
I don't see it that. I mean, I guess if you can see it that way, you may consider yourself as being a liar. I wouldn't consider.
I believe that when we set expectations and they're communicated, yes, yeah.
No, I don't believe. That's just me. That's me. I wouldn't say, oh, if you say, well, now I'm a liar, and your eyesight to me that you're a liar. I don't see it as you being a liar. I see sometimes that we ourselves can expect ourselves to produce so much, and then when we don't, I can understand you looking at you're being disappointed in yourself. But guess what? I'm gonna come back and say, it's okay, you didn't get it this time, but guess what? Next time, maybe you'll be able to do it. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
I wouldn't say, oh, you're a liar.
So hey, look, I'm getting ready to hit a sore subject. Okay, I'm going to hit a sore subject. All right, so let's do this. Okay, so let's say.
Be realistic.
I'm getting ready to be real. Hey, I'm gonna bring the kids $200.
Okay.
And they have the intention. All of a sudden now you started expecting. Nope, that's not you. The kids are expecting. Because it's been told to them.
That's a bad example.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
That is all the way.
You know why? Because you yourself, Anthony Davis, is not going to tell those kids that you're going to do.
I'm not.
No, wait. You're not going to tell them anything that you don't have the capability of doing.
You're right. However, other people have.
Well, some have.
Okay.
But that doesn't make them a liar, though.
Yes, it does. Because understand this. Understand
That's hard.
the kids. See, you can't be soft about it. No. Because the kids are processing the situation where what happened to this $200. So now all of a sudden,
maybe it's not them thinking you're a liar. Maybe it's them thinking, okay, because you have some that are smarter than others. Now you have some that are more mature. Well, maybe something came up. You never know.
All right,
you don't know what they're thinking.
So
right?
look, let's do this. Let's do this, okay? Because I want to get you guys involved.
Debbie said that look.
I want to get you guys involved. All right. So if a parent tells a child that they're going to do something, that they're going to take them to the mall at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock come, the parent's not found. Right. Okay. Now, even though the intention was there, the reality, Okay? So when we don't meet that expectation, okay, I need to see likes if they feel like it's a lie. And if it's not a lie that they've told.
Well, likes for a lie, hearts for if you think it's disappointment. Because I think it's more of a disappointment. I think it's more of a disappointment. That's what I think personally. I don't think it's a lie thing.
Okay.
All right. So we got hearts. A disappointment. I see disappointment. It sounds, Sherelle says that, well, it sounds harsh, but when you don't follow through or keep your word, then you will have made it to where they will question everything you do, and then they will start thinking, I believe it when I see it. Again, you got some that says that's lies, but for right now, you're saying a lot of
Miko just hitting hearts, man.
No, and wait, you got Miko, you had Kanika, you had Sherelle. Okay. Bernard says both.
Okay.
He says both, so it's kind of in between.
But my word is all I have, right? My word is all I have.
Again, when you don't have a child, watch this. Here it is about producing. When you're expecting that child to be able to produce, to accept what you're saying on the level that you're saying it, guess what? And they don't do it.
All right, so here again,
they may not can think about it that way.
So Sherelle says it sounds harsh, just as you said, it sounds harsh. I'm sorry. And the thing of it is, a lot of times we are missing accountability because here we are, we're expecting something, okay? We're expecting something to happen because we told somebody it was going to happen. And then when it doesn't happen, it's just like the weatherman. Hey, look, man, the weatherman is the biggest liar.
I just say it sounds harsh
in the TV industry.
I understand that, but it sounds harsh. I say it sounds harsh because a child really. I mean, when you're doing that, it all depends on what the situation is. It all depends on it's like this. Now, if you have continuously went to that child and said a bunch of I'mas, because that's what I say in this household. I'ma do this and I'ma do that and I'ma do this and I'm gonna do this for you and I'm gonna do that. When that child has continuously heard the word Amma and you have not fulfilled what you were supposed to do, then yes, I can see that child saying, oh, he ain't doing it but telling the story. So therefore that child is no longer going to expect that from that certain person or whomever it may be, because all you have told me is Ammas and I haven't got anything in return.
So Sherelle makes a good point. She says trust is broken when understood expectations are not met, right? And so when we have trust issues or we created a trust factor, why are we not trusting somebody? We're trusting somebody or someone we trust didn't do it. Hey, look, I'm sorry.
Again, it all depends, but every child is different. Every situation is different.
So let's get back to the expectations because I don't want to hold you guys long. But let's go back to, because we want to make sure that if any of you guys have any questions or comments that we can go through and address those things.
Well, why don't you let them start rolling in here?
All right, let's get some questions. Let's get some questions asked. Let's get some statements.
If this is your man, 50 grand, get him right now.
Y'all get me.
If y'all consider this is your man, 50 grand, get him right now.
Get me. So, in dealing with expectations, one of the things I will say too, one of the things that we really like now, I have learned to expect nothing and communicate what I would like or my desired expectation. And if you're able to accomplish that desired expectation, then I'm good. If you're not, then I'm okay with that.
Well, again, that's the same thing. I think that's doing the same thing that I said.
That you said earlier,
that,
exactly.
You don't set yourself up for failure. You don't look for it. So therefore, if you don't look for it, guess what? You're not looking for
anything in return. Thank you, Sherelle. Yeah, buddy.
She said Sherelle said me.
Oh, Lord, Sherelle.
But yeah, that's what it is. But please,
let's talk about this. Because I want to make sure.
Started.
Right.
Is there anything? If you're willing to share, it's up to you.
Matter of fact, what's up, Brother Raymond? Hey, look, here's what I'm going to do. All right. So right now, if you have a question and you're willing to get on on the book with us and ask the question, I'm gonna post my phone number. You can call in. All right.
Why don't you text?
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it right here because I want
text.
because it'll be quicker to do it this way.
And it's gonna.
Just try it. All right. So if you have a question or a comment, call.
It's gonna come through there.
No, it's not. I got you. Let me help you, baby.
No, get your man 50 grand. Because the moment that it doesn't do right, you're gonna be.
No, I'm not.
He's gonna be mad. Y'all gonna see him.
My expectations right now are like this, right? So if it does mess up, I'm not gonna be upset because my expectations are low.
I already know, dude.
So if you have a question right now, or your comment, come on, call in, and we'll put this on and keep it moving. If not, then I want to make sure that you guys understand that expectations, not communicating these expectations are detrimental. If you cannot assume, and that was one of the things that was really killing me, is that I assumed a lot. I assumed that Kim could do this. I assumed that she could do that. Hey, Kim, can you do this? And she didn't want to tell me no, but I put her in that situation to where she couldn't trust me to say no. She couldn't trust me. So she had to tell me yes. And then my expectations is all the way to the top. And then when I get home, I'm like, hey, baby, did you take care of this? And she's like, no, I wasn't able to do that. What do you mean? You told me you were going to take care of it. But the thing of it is that I had to learn that, here, my expectation is here. And then if the reality comes about, hey, Miss Bond, if the reality comes about and she's not able to meet that expectation, then I'm not tripping, right? And this is what prevents us from having blowouts and crazy arguments. And one of the things that I can say is that, that we have really been blessed to be able to do is overcome our obstacles kind of quick. I think we had one blowout a couple 3 weeks ago. That took a little bit of time to get over and get through and get past it, because the intention thing was outweighing the reality as it relate to how I saw it. It was right. It was the perception, right? Assuming. And so that was it was a miscommunication of saying, hey, this is what I expect, and I never communicated what I expected. So she had nothing to go on. So really and truly, it's a failure. It becomes a failure to communicate. Are you communicating your expectations on a daily basis? And so, if you're expecting your spouse to send you I love yous during the daytime, you're expecting them to send you I love you at night or while they're on the job, you better be communicating that. And then when they send it, you better say, thank you for sending that. I really appreciate it, because that's something that you're thinking about.
You have to acknowledge that if that's something that you're expecting and they do it, you come back and saying, there's a will. You know what? I really appreciate you sending me that. That really made my night, or that really made my day. Therefore, when you're communicating that, they have the ability to know, okay, if I do this, maybe this will make their day, go a little bit smoother. Even if it's just because sometimes we like to get things, that's man or woman, like to, your spouse like to get it just because, not based upon whether something went down or, the crap didn't hit the fan or anything like that. Because if the crap didn't hit the fan, you already know when a text come through, you just saying that because we just, we just had it out. You just ain't seeing eye to eye. So that's why you're doing that. Especially when you haven't normally been doing what that I love you or I was thinking about you or something like that. So it makes a difference. Therefore, the words of affirmation, I communicate that with Dude, because I let him know those are the things I like. And guess what? At first, he didn't do it. Still, does he do it now? I'm going to put his filth out there. Not all the time.
I don't care.
Not all the time. But my expectations of him has lowered. Not that I think that he can't, because I know that he has the capability and the ability to do it. It's just that for so long that I had got disappointed for so long, to where now, if he does it, cool. If he doesn't, I'm still cool. You know why? Because I'm at that point to where, okay, I'm not going to look for it. It's simple as that. I ain't gonna look for it. I'm not
Hey,
gonna look for it.
And here's what's crazy, right?
I'm not gonna
And
look
so
for it.
I believe that, hold on one second. We got somebody calling, so we're going to see what it is. If it's a telemarketer, y'all going to see me have fun.
Oh my God.
Hello.
Hi, Miss Anthony.
Hey, who's this?
I'm anonymous.
Okay. All right, anonymous.
Okay, this is my thing. Why? Okay, I know you have to communicate with your partner, and you got to have a basis of expectations. But if you communicated things and they are aware of the things that you expect and they don't deliver, how do you go forward from that?
Okay, so understand this. Anytime you're dealing in your relationship, Kim has to lead me to certain things. I have to lead her to certain things. So we have to understand that if you're expecting something, sometimes you got to ask yourself, what is it that I can do to make them or motivate them to do what it is that I'm expecting? All right. And so in dealing with that, we have to understand that if I want, like if Kim wants my clothes picked up, then there may be something else that we can trade. Okay, not saying that you should have to barter with your spouse, but sometimes, hey, look, you mind doing this for me? While you're doing that, I'm going to take care of this for you. Okay, and, it's a motivation thing, right? And so one of the things that just to give you a prime example, like for Kim, I wanted Kim, I'm like, look, man, you got to keep your car clean. Why are you not keeping your car clean? Right? And so what I did was I got her a membership at the car wash. No, it's not a little bit. I got a membership at the car wash. So guess what happened? So I'm paying this membership. She's not using it, but she sees that I'm using it on my truck. Right? And she's like, Darren, you going, why your truck so clean? I go to the car wash. So guess what happens now? She goes to the car wash. Right? The freaking car squeaky. I can go here right now, the car squeaky clean.
Not only because of that, but because I know that you expect me, here it goes, to be a better steward over what I have.
Tempo.
That's mainly the reason. That's not reason because his little slow truck is clean. It's clean.
It
cool.
look good though. Hey,
it's
so
clean,
did that answer your question?
I just went on up.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll take that.
All right.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And we got another question. It says, one comment. It says you should never expect more than what you yourself are not able to do. Then someone else said, okay, so you do have to say what you expect.
She said, no, it's a question.
Okay, so you have to say what you expect that.
Right, and that was back when we were talking about the words of affirmation going back and forth.
So,
all right, so yes, you do have to communicate that because it's one of the things that Kim had to tell me. She was like, I really would like for you to tell me you love me. Right? Because my love language is really more or less, I'm all about the action. And so for me...
Is it action?
Yeah, it's all action. You gotta show me. I'm from Missouri.
No. I know you're from Missouri. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, yeah, okay, go ahead.
And so understand this, you gotta show me. Because I'm all about showing you. I'm not gonna tell you I love you, I'm gonna show it to you. So like, when you're able to go and you flip the lights on and off, you got the water.
That's my point.
Right.
Even though you're doing that, even though that is one of the ways of you showing that the water and everything is consistent and everything is like that, that's good. That's all well and good. As well as me as a woman, I'm expecting more.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. We're talking about love language. Remember, right. So in dealing with this, the expectation, of me saying, okay, you got to show me. I'm not that guy that's going to send you a text, hey, love you, and I'm not that guy. And I haven't been, so I have to learn, okay? I have to learn how to do that. So what happens? There's a situation that, okay, if I say that, or I send it to you, or I say before I leave, I love you, then what is going to be, what is that? Because I'm saying to myself, do you really love me, or you just saying it as a salutation? So now, okay, I realize I don't hit her with the I love you every day. I realize that, right? And so when I do, then she know I'm for real.
Yeah, because if you do that every day, I'm gonna say this dude is
right. So he cheated.
I'm not gonna say you're cheating.
I wouldn't.
I'm not gonna say you cheating.
Yeah,
I know I'm not.
You gonna say, oh, something wrong.
You know what I'm gonna say? You know what I'm gonna say? You know what I'm gonna say? I'm gonna tell this joker here, you trying to set me up for something. That means he gonna bring something home he ain't supposed to. He done got a new toy of some type. He's invested or something that he has brought us into, and I'm clueless about it. So that's what that happens. So, all right. So you got someone. The comment was made. Communication is so important. Yes, it is. The question was posed. What happens when you do, but the response is that bias?
Blase. Is that
Blase.
blase?
Oh, blase. I'm sorry. So you're gonna answer that question. What happens when you do, but the response is blase?
Well, here again, how we communicate is basically, they go Inspector Gadget. You have to understand that there's a piece called effective communication, right? And so, are you effectively getting across what your expectations are? If you're not effectively getting across what your expectations are, then you're going to get that blase. Or, you're at a point where you guys got to sit down and hit the reset button, because a lot of times when you get the blase, it's been so many disappointments, there's been so many letdowns, and you haven't been able to communicate. You haven't communicated the existing expectations that aren't being met and the continual expectations that aren't being met. You're in that slump as well. So everything that happens around you now, you're just negative. It is not going to work. You're no good for me. And that's what happens. So we have to hit the reset button so that we can open that dialogue back up, so that we can start communicating what our expectations are, create these boundaries and things of that nature, set that field goal up so that we have a goal even to hit.
I agree. I agree with that. But when you're communicating your expectations and you're wanting this person to produce, don't ask them to produce something that you're not willing.
Oh.
Wait, let me finish this out.
Did you just
that
say
you're
willing?
not willing.
Oh,
now that's deep. I didn't say that you could do. I said that you're not willing to do. And that makes a difference. If you can expect to get that pot clean and get it cleaned down to the stainless steel to where it's shining when you just have cleaned it yourself.
Oh.
Again, do not ask your spouse to produce something that you really know within yourself you're not willing to do. And so when you're willing to do something, that's meaning that you're making a commitment to be committed. That means by any means necessary, because I'm willing, I'm going to do it, whether I like it or whether I don't like it.
Exactly.
That is what it is. It's
Okay.
tight, but it's right. I'm just saying.
And you kind of like, that's when you said that willing thing. And a lot of times we aren't willing because we feel like,
we say it, but
right.
when it comes down to it, we're not willing to do it.
And
So you can't expect Kumo Blow to do it. If I say Kumo Blow because I'm a woman, but I'm just saying
Who's
you can't.
Kumo Blow?
I was thinking Kumo D.
So,
How you like me now or something?
eh.
Yeah, that part. So I was thinking that's what I came up with. But I was saying that when you do that and you know before it even come out your mouth that you're not willing to do it for you and you're not willing to do it at all, then guess what? Don't even ask them. Because that's trying to call the kettle black, and you have no right to do that. You may think, but you really don't. So I'm not going to tell you to go and do something that I ain't trying to do that at all. You tell me. I always say, I say, let's go on a cruise. The Titanic. You always bring up the Titanic, it's going to sink. Okay, so
I tell you what, we're going to cruise. Let me get a pontoon boat.
No. See, that's what I'm saying. I'm not. That's
hey, look, this is the barter. Here we are, the barter.
We're not.
You're expecting me to say, let's go on a cruise.
No.
And I'm saying, let's get a pontoon boat.
Right. And I said no. So guess what? I'm no longer expecting to go on no cruise because you ain't getting no boat. You ain't getting no boat.
Yes,
yeah. No, you ain't getting no boat.
So
look, we're not even going there.
But the thing you're talking about being willing, right?
Who said that? Oh, come on, deep press code.
The thing about being willing is very serious, because willing has to do with your commitment level.
It does. And
when you start talking about expectations, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I have to call him a friend because that's what he is. But he was telling me, he was like, look, we're not going to when I leave and I come back, you not working. I expect the house to be clean. I expect to be smelling cornbread coming out the oven. You know, he had all these demands and expectations. And so, you know, what I had to ask him, I said, look, man, I said, if the shoe was on her foot, would you do it? No, man, I would. So how is it that you're expecting?
Right. Again.
Right.
If you're not willing to put forth that effort, if you're not willing to put forth the effort, if you're not willing to put forth the fight, if you're not willing to close your mouth at times, I'm just saying, these are things that we go through every day, especially when you're having a disagreement on something. Somebody got to be quiet. So you can't tell a person, well, I expect you to be quiet when I'm trying to communicate this, when the whole time you know that you're not going to be quiet. So are you willing to be quiet yourself? Like, are you willing to say, okay, I'll hear you out and you hear me out? It has to be a point to where both of you are willing to do something that is beyond the norm in order to get the result that you're wanting.
Right.
So it's just not it's a give and take thing on both sides for both parties. That's just my thing.
Okay. And so, you know, what happens, and the thing of it is that we have to understand that when these expectations aren't being met, it doesn't mean that our spouse loves us any less.
Right.
Right. And it doesn't mean that, you know, they're a bad person or this is not going to work. This is not the time. It's not the time to give up because the expectations or repeated expectations aren't being met. You know, now, you know, what my expectation of my marriage right now is commitment. All I expect from Kim is to be committed. As long as she has a 10,000%, or let's be honest, as long as she has 100% commitment to Team Davis.
I thought you said 10,000.
Yeah, no.
Well, forget that.
As long as she has 100% commitment to us, then that's all I expect. Because when you can expect that 100% commitment, everything else falls in line. Okay? You know, are you willing to give 100%? Are you committed? What is your level of commitment as it relates to your expectations? When your spouse don't meet those expectations, are you still as committed as you were when they were meeting your expectations? And if you're not as committed, then it's you have a conditional commitment, which is really not a commitment. It's just basically an agreement that can get broken at any time. Mm-hmm. It's almost like you shaking hands with somebody and your handshake means nothing. Not a thing, right? All right. So, anybody else have any other questions? Anybody else have any comments? We've been here almost an hour. I don't want to bore you. You have to go to work tomorrow. Some of you guys are working third shift. Some of you, but I want to say this. I want to say that I really appreciate the support that you guys have given to Married to Stay Married. We appreciate it. We went out to Grandsons last night and we saw like 3 or 4 couples that are in Married to Stay Married. How awesome is that, right? And so here we are getting ready to come up on date night at Kickback Jacks on Saturday at 7:30. I want you guys to come out. Let's have some fun. Let's socialize. We went to a little bit less formal place this time so that we can have a little bit more, have a better ability to enjoy each other's company and get to know one another. Quit being scared. Come out. Nobody's going to bite you. Nobody's going to kill you. There's not a judgment place. And, you know, no one's trying to
bite or kill.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, look, we're there as support. We're not there to solve any problems. And I'm going to say this. If you come to date night, don't bring your problems because we're dating, right? And you should be dating. You should be leaving your problems at home and then, you know, and see and interact with other couples that have some success in their marriage. Nobody's marriage is perfect. It's perfect for them. My marriage to Kim isn't perfect, but it's perfect for us.
It's not perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect for us, but it's not a perfect marriage. No, I'm sorry. Let me pray for you.
No, don't do that.
Lord.
No, don't do
Let me go get the oil.
No.
But anyway, but look, guys, come out, man. Socialize.
right? That's one of the things that really helped Kim and I. We didn't realize that our marriage was really in trouble until we started going out with other people. And those other people, we didn't have anything to talk about until we got with those other people, right? We
It's
didn't have.
awesome. I mean, you don't know if you're not used to getting out and you're kind of skeptical until you get to, know people. I tell the kids that, if in order to get friends, you gotta
be
make yourself
friendly.
You have to. In order to meet other people and want to be able to go and mingle with other people, you got to put yourself in that predicament to be able to do it.
In a position.
And you can't be in the house trying to want to mingle. Well, I want to go out and I want to be affiliated. I want to do this. Well, come on out. You know what I'm saying? Just come on out and be able to celebrate it with like-minded people. We're all about having fun. I mean, we cut up. They cut up real bad.
Really bad.
He cuts up
Really bad.
really bad.
We don't cut up too bad.
Yeah, he does. He gets with his mean 50 grand and they cut up. But
They're
we
my
have
peoples, man.
We have an awesome time. The ladies get together. We do pictures. It's an awesome time. It's a time for you to get away from the children, get away from the house, get away from the norm. You're leaving your job. You're leaving whatever else. All the issues. We know you got to come back to the issues. We do. But can we put the issues down for just a little bit, go and love on our spouse? You know what I mean?
I'm expecting to see you there. I'm setting my expectations up, right? And, and the thing of it is, I'm setting them up really high because I want to see you guys there. I want to be able to shake your hand. I want to be able to meet some new people, right? And I want to meet the old people that we've been having a ball for the last 2 years. Right? So do not miss this opportunity to come out and share with us at the date night.
Share date night. Share date night with other couples. A goal is 2. 2 is the goal.
Hey, look, there is a fruit crew. There's a fruit crew. And those of you that want to, those of you that...
Who started that, please?
Miko. And
Miko, not the fruit.
If you have never met the fruit crew, I hope they be there, right? I hope the fruit crew. Yes, I do.
Because the crew cut up the last time. We barely got home.
I know, right?
Because of...
No, we got home. I won't do nothing.
Oh my God.
But look,
that's
hilarious. So look, let's I want to see you guys date night. Come out, man. Come out. All right. So with that being said, let's wrap this up, Kim.
Okay, I wanted to let you know, ladies, whoop whoop, the ladies' room, Winning Wives, shirts will be arriving on Friday, baby. On Friday, I got the UPS tracking number. I got it retracked. Our t-shirts are coming in. Whoop, whoop. So, again, if you had sent me your information, I will be shipping those who haven't. Those who I'm seeing, more than likely, I'll just be giving them to you on Saturday. So look for that. I'm excited. I'm super excited to get them, for us to have them. I can't wait till you take them. And we're also I want us also to be able to get a picture done with all of us in different colors when you see them. Dude, it's mad exciting.
All right, and so I want to also, because I'm really proud of you guys. I'm really proud of the ladies' room. They came together. The Winning Wives came together, pulled this special edition T-shirt off. And so we did buy a few extras. All right,
yeah.
And so I'm going to tell you that if you have to buy a shirt now. Okay, I'm just be straight with you. It's $25. It was $5 it's going to cost you because you didn't jump on the bandwagon. Someone said, "Where are they?"
We have the Married to Stay Married T-shirts.
We have
so
those.
If you
those
want
are in stock.
Those are here. So if you want those, please text us or let us know, and we can bring some of those as well. Because those are already here.
Yeah, they're here. But I want you guys to understand that we're really at this point we're trying to push. The marriage conference, the marriage empowerment conference is coming up October the 13th. Hey, look, you know what? It's $79 for a couple. It was brought to my attention that maybe someone's spouse may not want to come. So if your spouse doesn't want to come and you're going to have to come by yourself, it's $39.99, $40. It's going to get you in. It's going to get you a T-shirt. It's going to get you admission to both sessions. It's going to get you a buffet lunch. All right, so we're going to be taking care of you that particular day.
You got excited when you said buffet lunch.
Man, because I'm hungry right now. My stomach about to eat my back out.
All right, but we've got some great things planned. We've got Pastor Kareem Edwards and his wife. We got Bernard and his wife. We've got a guest panel that's going to be coming in. We're going to be doing a Q&A session with them to talk about some of the things that we've already learned throughout that course and period of that conference. I'm hoping to have my book published by then, but we're going to see how that works out.
Wow,
you know what I'm saying?
doing a
So,
book?
yeah, man, you know we doing a book, girl.
Alright.
You know we doing a book,
I
yeah.
know. But that's,
All right,
that's
but this is something that I'm hoping that you guys go ahead and take advantage of. Spend some time with us and whatnot. Yes, you can make payments.
You can make payments towards that, because
Right. So it's,
you don't have to come out front all at once, even if it's, we know it's not until October, but still in doing that, it gives you time enough because, everybody's things are different. So
we're not
trying to break the bank.
Yeah, we're not publicizing this yet, okay? So as of May 1st, we're going to go public with it. We're going to have flyers out and everything. So I'm trying to give everyone that's affiliated with Married to Stay Married an opportunity. So if you need to, go to youprosper.live, okay, /events, okay, or go to the events tab. Don't just do youprosper.live. Go to the events tab at the top, and it'll come down and it'll say Marriage Empowerment Conference. You're gonna go there. You can do, all you gotta do is reserve with your $25. Okay, $25 will reserve for you or a couple. Okay, so if you just think it's gonna be you, that's fine. $25, and then what we'll do is just put a note in there saying for one, and then that way we know that, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to make another ticket available for the balance for single, and it's going to be a balance for couples. Okay? All right? And also, ladies, don't forget tomorrow night's ladies' room.
Meet us there in the ladies' room starting at 8:30. This is the month that we're talking about family connections. We're talking about tomorrow night. We're doing a part 2 of blended families, and we're talking about, remember ladies, I asked you to bring the do's and the don'ts, 2 do's and 2 don'ts, and 2 people, 2, 2, and 2,
2, 2, 2,
2,
All
and
right.
2. So meet us there at 8:30 on the call. It will be posted. It's as far as the time, listen, we've been having some awesome dialogue on what we've been talking about families, about blended families. Just be on the call.
All right. So I'm going to say this too, just and one last thing, and we're going to be going. Okay. I want to let you know that I'm going to do the same thing we did last week. If you notice that the marriage moments are not on the Married to Stay Married page, okay, you're going to have to go see them on youprosper.life. You're going to have to go to the website youprosper.life. Last week hasn't been published yet because I'm still going back through, and I don't think I'm going to edit anything. So we're just going to be putting it up there raw. Okay, so that's what it is. All right, we love you guys. We want you to have a prosperous week.
You didn't want to say nothing about your huddle.
That was Monday night. We already huddled, so we're gonna be huddling again on Monday, next Monday.
Next
all right?
Monday,
we coming.
Ladies, let's put the men 50 grand. Oh.
Yeah, hey, look, you know what? I'm gonna say this, fellas, get on, be on by 8:30. So you need to get there like 8:25. So because the thing of it is, a lot of us are busy.
That is funny.
And
why
so,
you say it like that?
What?
Be on by 8:30.
Be on by 8:30. Because because we 8:40 and you hear ding dong, ding dong, and we're already started. You know what I'm saying?
Can chime in at 8:30. Stop playing.
So look, I'm on time now. So look, let's get there to the huddle, guys. I promise you have a great time. Chris has been a very big inspiration on the huddle. Bernard's been a very big inspiration. Tori's been a very, very big inspiration. You got other men like Sean Spinks and Tony Colon, Tim Prince.
You got everybody that's on it.
Jeffrey Morton.
Awesome
look, man, and I know
hats
I'm forgetting.
To the men.
Yeah, I know
hats
I'm forgetting some people.
Man. I don't know who's on the call, but hats
Steve
off to
Brown,
everyone that's taking the time, to get
Andre,
and to talk, and they talk like women.
So
I just hear him on the end.
Yeah, forget you, man. You know what I'm saying?
That's
You know what I want to
what
tell you to eat too, don't you?
In the
All right.
huddle. But listen, as well as, okay, the very, very last thing, seriously, and this is really important. You know what's going down in July.
What's going on in July? July 4th.
July the 13th. ATL bound, baby. You know,
All right.
we're hitting
Yeah,
Atlanta.
yeah,
Those
yeah.
will I've already
Hotel
got
rooms.
the hotel room information will be posted up by Friday, so you can pick and choose a hotel that you would like to stay in. So you can go ahead on and get it booked from the 13th to the 15th. So we'll be there on Friday, Saturday, and we'll be leaving out on Sunday. Dina K. Smith and her husband, Tim Smith, is rocking. They have got it all mapped out and planned out. As far as what we're gonna do, the itinerary will be posted a little bit later as the guidelines of what we're gonna do. But we just want to go ahead and get the hotel information out to you, so you can go ahead on and pay in advance, however you want to do it.
I'm
and
having
get
to
it
pay
taken
up
care
front. I can't do
take
wait,
advantage
man.
of the moment. And so the hotel that your hotel, just keep in mind that the hotel that you will stay at, each hotel is at least from 15 to 20 minutes to each destination that we're getting to. So we don't have to drive a whole hour, 40, 30, 35, 45 minutes. No, unless you branch out on your own. But anything that we're doing as far as the itinerary is 15 minutes from the hotel. So, you don't have a big driving distance.
All right. So I'm going to say this also, and we'll also be doing You Prosper Live from Atlanta.
Okay.
Right? So You Prosper is going to be live from Atlanta. You guys be ready if you want to participate in You Prosper. You Prosper basically is it's the spiritual piece to Married to Stay Married. We try not to put Christianity and religion into the marriage group, because we realize that there are other people who want successful marriage, and I don't believe that Christians have a monopoly on success, right? And so I believe that there are principles and things of that nature that we can help each other with in order to have prosperous marriage. However, because we do believe and we are disciples of Christ, we do acknowledge that. And so the You Prosper is what that is all about. So in You Prosper, we take and we break down the principles and the laws of nature that have been established throughout the course and period of the whole world by the Most High. We break them down and show them to you in the Bible so that we don't offend anybody. All right. So You Prosper will be in their discussion, because
That would be awesome.
Yes.
To have a panel on You Prosper on Sunday
Oh
morning.
yeah, I like that.
I'll be in the audience.
Yeah, we'll do that for a change.
I'll be in the audience and then watch the panel. That would be mad awesome. That's gonna be awesome.
I think.
Okay.
All right. So guys, we got a lot going on. So we love you. Keep your expectations to a level that you're not going to be disappointed. Okay.
As well as what you're
wanting to shoot for.
and
So
willing to produce.
right. So that's where the goal making, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, setting goals and things of the nature. And so you should have a goal for your expectations, and then you have a reality point that you got to grow to that goal. All right.
Stay
so
tuned to the next marriage moment. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss it. Don't know what the subject is, but it's always something. It's always room to learn. We can always learn. We always can become more knowledgeable when it comes to our spouse and when it comes to our marriage.
And I'm gonna say this: if you're interested in coming down here to our home during marriage moments, and you want to sit and we just do couples talk as a marriage moment, I don't have a problem with doing that. All right. So, the invitation is out. Please just let us know, to be expecting you so that we can set things up and have things set up the right way. Because, some of you have been here and you've seen some of the equipment and things of the nature and how that works out. All right. So we love you guys and have a...